Many times when I try to talk to people about this, they'll say to me, "Oh, but Dave, they'll come up with a solution." This mysterious they'll, they will, this mysterious they're going to solve it. I have really, really bad news for people who think that. I am one of the theys. I'm one of the ones that the Ministry of Infrastructure thought might have a solution. As they searched all over the 6 million people, the 6.7 million people that live in Israel, they picked 7 who might have an idea of how to solve the energy shortage. And I was one of them. Scary, huh? I'm one of the theys. I'm on the cutting edge. There isn't a solution. There's no solution if the problem is, how do we maintain a growth-oriented society? How do we maintain a culture, a financial system, a life that requires constant growth? There is no solution. There's no way to solve it. Stop looking. Calm yourself. Relax. Take it easy. This isn't bad news. It's just the news. It's just the way it is. You can't have infinite growth. I know it's an old cliche. You can't have infinite growth on a finite planet. But it's true. You can't do it. And there isn't any substitute for fossilized fuels. And now why would I say that? Because there's 2 categories of fossil fuels. There's the carbon-based, and there's the, for lack of a better term, uranium-based, the radioactive fuels, okay? Let's deal with the uranium-based fuels first. There's only so much of it. It's not hard to find. It kind of screams, I'm here, okay? If you have the right instrumentation, it's not hard to find. It's not hard to get out. It's not hard to process. We've got all those things developed. Those are well-defined, well-developed industries that, they're not making big advances on anymore because they've already made all the big advances. They're making advances, but not big advances. Okay, there's no more big steps. No more thinking that some magic thing's going to happen. Okay, so that leaves the carbon-based fuels, fossil fuels. Now, what carbon-based fossil fuels are? Okay, the oils, the natural gases, are any other fossil fuel, whether it's shale oil, or tar sands, any other kind of state of unfinished oils or unfinished natural gas. Because if you keep cooking, if you keep pressure on oil, it becomes natural gas. It's a process, and it starts with living organisms. Now, I know there's some people that call themselves scientists that have said, nope, it's abiotic. There's a magical core in the center of the earth that's pumping out these hydrocarbons, and it'll magically replenish itself. Well, even if it's true, it's not doing it fast enough. We're going through it far faster than any possible replenishment is happening. So you have these carbon-based fuels, and what they are is an accumulation and deposit, a treasure chest, if you will, of years and years and millions of years of sunlight. So what these fossil fuels are is this accumulation. And it was there was plenty of accumulations that weren't properly capped, and so it just evaporated into the air and dissipated, and we never got to use of it. But there are certain places where, wonder of wonders, it got trapped and got capped and got stored up for us so we could go find it. we know what we're looking for. It's not hard to find. It's difficult, but I mean, it's not like we're guessing and we're randomly putting holes in the ground and hope there's something there. I mean, we know where to look, and with the satellite systems and things that we have, there's no place that hasn't been looked at and hasn't been considered where we could extract the fuel from. I mean, you know, why wasn't oil discovered under the North Pole originally in 1869? Because it's really hard to get it there. You know, it was really easy to get it in Pennsylvania. It was only 60 feet deep. You know, it was easy. Yeah, all the easy stuff comes first, you know, and we've used that all up. Now we're down to the really, really hard stuff and the stuff that isn't so good and it isn't so easy to process. It's full of acids and things that corrode the machinery, and well, we'd have to replace all this pipeline. Where are we going to get the money to do that? So there's all these problems that, you know, they're not going to fix them. We're going to have less, and maybe what we have left is too expensive for you to use it. You know, sure, I could make, you know, in today's economy, with a gallon of oil, you know, crude oil, I could make $3,000 to $5,000 worth of products out of it. You know, different products. I could make 3 to 5, but not everybody knows how to do that. You know, not everybody has the equipment to do that. You know, most people want to use it to run their car down the road 8 or 10 or 12 miles or 30 miles or whatever their fuel mileage is for their car. You know, they just want to burn it up. They're not going to pay $3,000 to $5,000 to, you know, to chill their freezer so they can get some ice cream. You know, that's not going to happen. So what's the alternative? If we can't get these fossilized accumulations of millions of years worth of sunlight, what are we left with? A day's sunlight. That's all we got. Each day's sunlight. That's what we got. And for most of existence, that's all we ever dealt with. These last couple of 100 years, we've used more than a day's, and it's actually more than before they discovered oil, because you know, they've been using coal for longer than that, and they used to use what they call sea coal, which is coal that washed up on the sea, and before that they used wood, and wood is accumulation of a few years worth of sunlight and stuff like that. But that's basically what we're going to be using, just, you know, small accumulations, small amounts. Now, that's not bad. I mean, anything you can make out of oil, you can make out of plant materials. Any chemicals that I know of, anything worthwhile. You know, there may be some things that you can't, but I don't know of anything. It may be easier, a whole lot easier, to make it out of pre-processed oil, but you know, the chemicals, the molecules came from plants, and we can grow the plants. So, you know, anything we need, any of the pharmaceuticals, things like that, we can get out of. We can make it other ways. We don't have to have it from oil-based things. There are alternatives to transportation, but probably not ones that'll let you go 110 kilometers an hour, or, you know, 70 miles an hour, or whatever, you know, or 650 miles an hour in a plane, you know, or cross the ocean in a few weeks. You know, it's going to be slower and lighter. So that's all we're going to have is a daily dose of sunlight. Now that sunlight affects you know, the environment here, and you know, we get heat from it, we get wind from it, we get waves from it, and we get light from it, and we can turn all those things into energy. And some people say, well, that'll be the solution. We'll start doing, quote, all of the above. We'll put in wind farms, and we'll put in solar electrical panels, and we'll put in thermal solar electrical panels, you know, where they concentrate the sun's heat and make steam and run little turbines, and The thing of it is, all of these systems, you can trace out how much energy goes into them. And you can trace out how much energy they'll put out over their useful lifespans. There's a problem. They don't make enough energy in their useful lifespan to reproduce themselves and do any other work. So if they can't produce enough energy to replicate themselves, you only get to use them once. And when they're broke, what are you going to do then? Okay, so if I had solar panels, I'd put them up and I'd use them. And I might get 20, 30, 40 years, depending upon, I might only get 3 years, depending upon if my house should come under attack or something, people throw rocks at it and break it or something. I mean, who knows how long I'd get out of it. But I would get as much as I could out of it. But I would not get, under any circumstances, enough energy to make new solar panels. I'm going to put up wind towers. And I have some terrific ideas and terrific plans, and I'm going to put up different kinds, horizontal axis, vertical axis, high speed, low speed, all kinds of different ones. I have my plans to make my own magnets and make my own coils and wrap my own coil wire, to make my own generators and my own alternators, and to generate the electricity. And in other words, I can make it. With the foundry, I can draw the wire. I could actually make all the pieces of the machine. So I'm not saying that we wouldn't be able to have the technology to make it. I do, and anyone could have it. They've been making wire a long time, and to make permanent magnets is not that big a deal if you know how. And to cut metal, and to make discs, and to make bearings, I wouldn't even have to use roller bearings, which are difficult to make. You can make simpler bearings that are called Babbitt bearings, and I'm not going to get into how to do that, but all these things can be done in a little foundry in the backyard. And yes, since I'm going to make every piece, I'm not going to purchase any of it. Well, I'll purchase the wire and I'll purchase the steel now, but I could recycle wire and I could recycle steel for the next one. I'm going to make every piece of it. So yes, I could do it again, but not with the power that I'm going to get out of it. It won't produce enough surplus power to make another one. I'll have to put other power into it. The only reason I would do it is because it's more convenient. You see, the power from the wind thing would be more convenient than the other way. And I may decide that it's not more convenient and it's not worth doing. Any of the alternative solutions run into one or the other problem. They don't produce enough power to reproduce themselves, so they're a one-shot deal, or they require specialized chemicals or specialized minerals or specialized metals or specialized something or other that there's limited supplies of, and they don't make that, of course. And so you can't put up an infinite number of them to have constant expanding growth economy again. So we're back to the problem. We're never going to solve that problem of how to keep growing. We're going to have to come up with a new way of living where we don't have constant growth.